Hey y'all, I'm back. Oh my gosh, it's been a month since I recorded a video, and I usually upload them once a week. I'm going to tell you something. Doing videos once a week is like being a writer and doing it religiously. Sometimes you get writer's block, and I think I've got recording topic block. But no more, because there's so much stuff going on in the world and the economy, not just in our little world called Wichita Falls. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about things that are coming up right now. So welcome back, y'all, to this episode of Your Wichita Falls. Well, my gosh, there's so much going on, and just last night. So this tape, or this video is going to take a few days to get edited, unfortunately. I wish it was immediate. I wish I had a television show, because I would be great at coming up with snappy topics. But the fact is that this is going to take a few days to edit, but it is so important that you listen to what's happening. I don't use this YouTube channel very much as a soapbox, but today, if you could see me, I'm standing up on my soapbox. I'm telling you, it's a little bit crazy out there. And that being said, some of you are experiencing some of the pain that's out there. I'm here to tell you that because I'm old and I've been around and watched this market, this economic market, for decades upon decades, this is a blip on the radar. I promise you. I was telling somebody just about 10 minutes ago, I used to sell loans when they were
18%.
So when we get up to the sevens, because that's where we are right now, actually, don't worry, because that's actually the average interest rate for the last century. But let me tell you what happened last night. The Federal Reserve, our fabulous Federal Reserve, for those of you that don't know what the Federal Reserve is, go look them up, because they're not my favorite entity. However, that being said, last night, the Fed started their Fed meeting for June. Everybody was expecting that Wednesday, meaning tomorrow, we would get some information about what their plan is. In case you've been living under a rock and you don't know about the Fed and what they're doing with rates, they have this plan, much like Greenspan did back in the early 2000s. I said it then, and I say it now.
You cannot,
I repeat, you cannot stop a moving train, which is what they call inflation, by standing in front of it unless you're flippin' Superman. The Federal Reserve is not. That's what you heard it from my mouth, and it's true. So back then in the early 2000s, Greenspan stood in front of this train called inflation, and he thought, oh, I'm just this mortal man, and I am going to stop it. Well, guess what? He's not Superman, neither is this Fed, and it's not happening. However, it's going to take them a minute to figure it out. So, here's the thing. The Federal Reserve has had for decades now in their brains, I don't know why, because I didn't graduate with a master's degree, a doctorate degree, or anything else in economics. Because, frankly, it's really simple. It's supply and demand. It isn't interest rates dictated by the Fed. They think it is, but it isn't. But in the meantime, they're going to cause you a little bit of pain. I promise you. That little bit of pain is not going to be enjoyable for a little while. But I'm going to tell you a little secret. Shh, don't tell anybody. Same thing happened in the early 2000s. So you can go look it up. Back in the early 2000s, our Fed chairman, Mr. Greenspan, said, I'm going to stop that moving train. I'm going to raise interest rates. And it lasted about 6 months. This one might last, I don't know, maybe 8. It doesn't work. And they find that out sooner, hopefully, rather than later. But the fact is that you're not going to increase anything or decrease anything by interest rates. You're just going to cause us poor consumers pain after pain after pain. And I'm here to tell you that pain is temporary. It's not going to last. And also, you have the power to go to the voting booth. And the Federal Reserve is appointed. Who is appointed by? Look it up. It's by the executive branch. So the fact of the matter is that because they're raising interest rates, they've been doing it for the last several months. They said last night, oh my gosh, and this is why the market went crazy. If you didn't know and you have a house or you have a loan that's about to be locked or floating or any of that, call your lender, because I'm telling you, whatever they quoted you for last week is not happening this week. So what happened was the Fed got together and they sit around, all these, there are some women, so these guys sit around in a room and they decide that they're going to run the world by raising interest rates. So they talked about raising it 0.5%. Then said, no, I'm going to raise it 0.75%. No, we should raise it 1.5%. Meanwhile, the market, because they are hearing all of this, is going crazy. The bond market is what drives the interest rates actually, but for mortgages. But the fact is that the Fed interest rate that they're talking about raising is the overnight Fed fund lending rate between institutions. So it's been basically zero for a very long time now because of all the other craziness that's been going on. But the fact is that because they're saying these things, the bond market is going like, I say the bond market and the stock market are like teenage boys. No offense to boys or men, but they're just so volatile. They have their hormones going. They don't know what's happening. And so they're trading and going crazy. And the fact of the matter is that market went so crazy last night. I personally was stunned. I was like, I haven't seen that kind of craziness for many, many, many years. And the fact of the matter is that what they do is they build it in before the Fed has even made their decision. Because, by the way, the Fed has not made the decision of how much they're going to increase the overnight Fed fund rate. They haven't. But they start talking. Oh my gosh, it's like social media. They're like, so they talk and talk and talk and talk, and then all of a sudden the market is going crazy because they're hearing them talking, and it literally is like watching people on Facebook. They're just nutty. The bond market went crazy, and the interest rates went so high in such a short period of time, it was nuts. The Fed has not decided what they are going to do. By the time you see this video, it probably will have been done. The anticipation is that they're going to raise it 0.75%. And, oh, by the way, another half next month. And, oh, by the way, another half in another month or two after that. This will not, I repeat, stop inflation. And everybody that I know that is smart and economically astute is predicting a refinance boom in about 6 months or less, because it can't sustain itself. On top of it, how many of you are already in pain every single time you go to the gas pump? I don't know about you, but I am. And every time you go to the grocery store, I don't know about you, but I am. And if you're trying to buy a house, now you've got this 7 or 8% interest rate on it when you thought you were going to get 5%, 3 weeks ago. Your housing payments have gone up. Your real estate taxes have gone up. The taxes that you pay to the government have gone up. The pain point is getting to be extreme. That does not translate into good economic practices to say, oh, by the way, let's put the screws to you a little more and raise the interest rates. That's crazy. And at some point, you the people, I pray, you the people, will start to use your political voice and go and vote for those people that will stop this insanity. But in the meantime, there's going to be some pain. Now, I'm not about gloom and doom, and you know that about me if you watch my videos or you go onto my Facebook groups, and you know I'm not about gloom and doom. I am about staying positive. I am about coming up with a solution. So what's the solution right now? Well, one of those things is what I call the gig economy. So I'm going to do a video on the gig economy, because at the end of the day, every single person that's listening to this, that's within earshot, should be out there having a side hustle, because your disposable income just dried up. What's important to know is that we have weathered so many worse storms than this. This is not a recession. This is a pain point. And that pain point is a signal to you. Please, if you are within earshot of this, this pain point is a message, is a signal to you You have to take charge, number one, of your life, number two, of your community, and number three, of your city, your state, and your country. If you don't do that, these things will continue to increase your pain point. There are lots and lots of people out there that cannot be in this pain point any longer. But the fact of the matter is that you have the ability to do something about it. So I'm going to do a gig economy video here in just a second, but I'm also going to do a video here as I'm wrapping this up on recession and what it does to the real estate market and whether or not we're in a bubble. I get this question all the time. By the way, the answer is we are not in a bubble. We're not in a bubble, and I'm going to tell you why. But if you want to know more about this economy, I'm happy to do a Zoom call with you. If you check the link below, there's a place you can schedule it. You know, the thing is that maybe you're one of those people, you need to wait a minute to buy a house. Maybe you're not that person. Everybody's situation is different, but it's so important for you to understand what is happening in the world today. If I hear one more thing about it's the chain of supply or the supply chain or any of that, the thing is that being positive, coming up with solutions is not always the first place that most people go. Where do most people go? Whining and complaining. So I'm going to say, knock that off, because that won't get you where you want to be. Whining and complaining gets you more of where you are. Oh my gosh, where do you want to be? I want to be happy. I want to be joyous. I want to be free. I want to be abundant. And guess what? You can have all of those things. And as I always say, y'all come back now, you hear?